Hello, my name is Valentina Elizabeth and welcome to my mask making workshop. Here is everything you need to make your mask. You need your pattern, you need your scissors, you need 2 pieces of elastic 16 centimeters long, 2 pieces for your front, 2 pieces for your lining, 2 pieces for your interfacing, you need your thread and you need some pins. Step 1, we have a pattern here. I've done a placement line because I want my mask to match in the center. So I place my pattern on the straight grain of the pattern and then I pin it in place. And then I cut it out. And then you just mark in your notches. Okay, just a couple of mils into where the seam allowance is. The notches is your guide. And then what you do next is I can just turn it right sides together and repin it. And then cut a second front. Once you have cut your 2 fronts, then you cut your 2 lining pieces and then you cut your 2 interfacings and then you have your elastic. Now that we have cut all our pattern pieces, we need to iron on the interfacing on the wrong side of the fabric. We make sure that our interfacing is also matched correctly with our notches. Very important. Press the interfacing, a little bit of seam on both pieces. Now interfacing is to give your front of your mask a little bit of stability. If you have no interfacing, you can double the front of your mask. What I will do is identify the notch marks. Really important that we have the notches for the bottom of the mask. We need to have an opening. Really important that we have those notches. The next stage is we are going to place our elastic at the end of the mask within your seam allowance. So we pin it in place here. Make sure the elastic is flat and pin it here. And we do so exactly on the other side. And then we are going to stitch across it to hold it in place. 0.5 seam allowance. Needle down in the work and stitch across. Just to secure the elastic on both sides. And then we place our masks right sides together and pin it in place, matching all the notches. And we do the same exactly for the lining. Place right sides together and then we pin it in place. And then we sew 1 centimeter seam allowance from the top to the bottom. Your needle down in your work, stitch forward and back tack to secure your ends. Take your pins out as you go along. your needle inside the work first. Okay. Now we are ready to press the middle of our mask. And if you haven't got a ham, it's okay. You just use the point of the iron and press in the center of your mask with a little bit of steam. And then you do the same with your lining. Now that we have finished pressing our mask, we have 2 notch marks which measures 6 centimeters wide. This will be our bagging out area. We place the right side of the lining to the right side of our mask and pin exactly in place, matching our notches. Push our elastic inside. Keep our pins here for the opening, bagging out, really important. Match all your seams lines exactly. You can feel exactly where the elastic is, so you will know exactly where to sew. And then what we do is we sew 1 centimeter all the way around, and we start at the opening of the 6 centimeter. Put our needle down in our work, stitch forward, back tack. Keep your work on the edge of the 1 centimeter mark. You're worried about overshooting, just wheel it to the end and then stitch across the elastic, take the pin out and sew around, making sure that your work is edge to edge. And then you stop at the beginning of your opening and back tack. Cut away your threads and then just cut 0.5 seam allowance off. Cut at the points at an angle. This will just reduce the bulk around the mask. Once we've sewn the mask together, we are going to bag it out. Be careful that you don't stretch where the opening is. So turn your mask through to the right side, pulling out where the elastic is, making sure it comes out all in the corners. Okay, and let's just give it a light press here first, in the middle, turn it over, we do another press here, just very lightly, so that we can roll the seam allowances exactly together. there is our 6 centimeters opening, so we want to make sure that those seams are edge to edge, and we pin it edge to edge in place, and then we roll it again so all the seams are edge to edge. Okay, pull out the elastic nicely. You can, if you want, press the edge as well, and then you can pin it after, or you roll it with your fingers if that helps you more. Okay, just put a few pins in. Make sure your seam allowances are right in the center. Okay, now we have pinned our mask in the most important places, and we are just going to edge stitch around the mask to finalize. But you can, if you wanted the detail, to top stitch in the middle, in the center of the mask on either side, so that your mask doesn't separate, but you don't have to. Now, this is the bottom of the mask, and this is where I like to start edge stitching. Now we're going to edge stitch all the way around, place our foot on the edge, put the needle down in the work, and we're going to stitch forward and back tack. And then we go all the way around, starting at the opening, making sure that we are keeping an eye as we top stitch around the mask. Leave the needle in, lift up the work and turn it round. Placing your foot on the edge so you really have a lovely edge stitching detail around the mask. Remember, we've made this mask reversible, so it's important that it's edge stitched as best you can. So back where we start and back tack, okay? And then we cut the threads at the end, okay, because we've back tacked. And there we are, our finished mask. And here we have the final mask, reversible and breathable. Thank you for watching Valentina's mask tutorial.